Okay, so we're back again for our weekly series. This week, I think what we should do is help people understand what it means to be PR ready. Ala, what do you think it means to be PR ready?
Yeah, that's a very important topic that you're bringing up. In this video, we are going to explain when on a daily basis, when we are talking to the clients, it's very important for them to understand that if they are ready to apply for permanent residency or not. And the things that you have in mind, I think it will help many people inside Canada to analyze their cases before even going to a consultant.
So, I thought a cool way to illustrate how to, communicate this idea of PR readiness, instead of doing a presentation or something, why don't we do a simulation? So we can take two sort of hypothetical profiles, a husband and a wife, and then we can sort of walk through their profile and see what their weaknesses and strengths are, and how we would approach a couple like this who came to us with various strengths and weaknesses. So I have a document here that I want to share with you. We made a little bit of a profile. So it's a couple, Mark and Anita Johnson. The husband is 31 and he's in IT. The spouse is 28 and she is in the healthcare sector. The husband has Canadian education and work experience. The wife has not gone to school in Canada. So Ala, when a couple like this comes to us, right? These are the type of the questions that you would start asking, right? Just to get basics. And then you would go to their CRS score to see. But based on these, just what you see here, what are some of the things that jump out to you right away? How would you begin to think about this profile?
So there are two perfect candidates, because we have something which is called categorized express entry. As we could see, Mark has the knock code for Mark is a software developer, which will be under the STEM category. And the spouse, Anita, is a health aide, nurse aide. She will be categorized under health category. And then, but we don't know yet, right? We want to do the calculation to find out which one will be the best candidate for their permanent residency.
Yeah, for sure. And before we move on to that, I think you mentioned category-based express entry. Let's quickly show people what we mean when we say that, right? So this is the website, it shows here that express entry rounds of invitations, category-based selection. So in recent months, the IRCC has been doing draws based on these following categories. Okay, there's French language proficiency, healthcare occupation, STEM, trade, transport, and agriculture. So pretty much what this means is if you have 6 months of full-time continuous work experience in the last 3 years in any of these categories, right, then you can apply under this stream, this healthcare stream. And why is that beneficial, Ala?
Because once you've been in the categorized express entry, the scores will be less than the general draws. As you could see in the screen, the C is for the STEM category we have 491, and for general one is 529. So you could see that if you are in one of those categories express entry, you have higher chance of receiving the invitation to apply.
So in February 14, which was the last healthcare draw, the score was 422, right? And sure. In other words, if they did not have a job in any of these occupations, right, they would have been categorized under the general occupation draw. See, this general, it means general occupations. So any occupation that isn't STEM, health, transport, etc., is scored at this. And as you can see, it was 549, went down to 529, and 522. Meanwhile, STEM and healthcare have always been below the general cutoff. So in other words, if you have work experience in these critical NOC codes, whether they be in the healthcare, sector, you can see there are 35 occupations that they've identified, or whether it be in STEM, for example. So here, our hypothetical clients, they are in STEM for Mark, because we know software developer is on the list that we just showed you. And Anita would be in health, because we also know that nurses aid are also on the list that we showed you. So if Anita is the primary applicant, she would have to score a 422 on the CRS score. And if Mark was the primary applicant, he would have to score better than a 491 based on the latest data. Okay, so why don't we, Ala, go through a quick CRS score simulation for Anita and Mark here. Here is the website for the CRS. So Ala, how about you share your screen with the CRS calculator, and I'll give you the data from the profiles. So who would you say should we try to make the primary applicant first? Now, there are a couple. They're in Canada, and they want to submit their express entry profile. One is in STEM, one is in health, both good things and bad things.
Based on the information you just provided, I think let's go for the one who has the lowest score compared to the general one. Based on the information we present, I think let's go for the Anita, which is the wife. She's in health category.
Perfect. Sounds good. Yeah. Okay. So Anita is 28 years old, Ella, and she has no Canadian education.
She has a master back home.
Yeah, she has a master's back home.
No Canadian education.
No Canadian education.
She has CELPIP of...
She goes 7 in speaking. She got 7 in listening. She got 7 in reading and 8 in writing.
Okay, 3718. No French.
She has, are we at work experience now?
Yeah, in Canada.
In Canada, she has 2 years of work experience. No, she has 3 years or more back home and 1 in Canada. She does not have a certification of qualification. She does not have an LMIA job. She does not have a nomination. She doesn't have any siblings who are Canadian citizens, permanent residents. Her husband has a bachelor's from home, and he did a 2-year diploma here, okay, and has 1 year of skilled work experience in Canada. And he had all 9s and 1 8.
Okay. Writing is 8. Okay, let's see the score. Final score is 463.
So this is a profile that could, potentially submit an express entry and have a chance at getting selected by the IRCC. However, as we know, the last draw was in February 22, and we don't know what's the difference between the score is going to be in the next one. It could go over 467. So Ala, how would a profile like this, what if they wanted to improve their score, what are some of the ways that they can improve their score?
So as we could see, first of all, based on our simulation, she could have worked 1 more year in Canada, because the spouse, Mark, is on a postgraduate work permit for 2-year program, and then 1 year left from the PGWP. So one of the way that she can improve her score is to have 1 more year of Canadian experience. Also, her IELTS score, the proof of English, the CELPIP score is the minimum. The more you can get, the higher chance of you will get the invitation. So let me share the screen one more time and show that if just for the listening we got 9, and then the speaking we will change it to 9. So from 463, her score will jump up to 489, Mushtaba.
That's
so
a huge
almost,
difference.
Yeah, that's a very huge difference.
And since we don't know, we cannot predict, the fluctuations of the scores on each round. We don't know how much they may go up so high, they may come down so low. It's always good to, not take any risk and maximize your scores as much as possible, right? And I think improving IELTS is one of the most powerful ways to improve your points. Now, Ala, I also want to mention sometimes, so if we made the husband the primary applicant, right?
Yes.
Let's suppose the wife does not have the ability to say that she is in the healthcare stream, right? Let's say she's no longer a healthcare worker. She's working at a Walmart as even as a store manager. Even
the knock code, Mustafa, is very important. Maybe she thinks that she's in a nurse aid, but the job responsibility, when they come to us, we will find out, no, they are in a different knock code. So,
and it's not easy to figure out the knock code either. So let's say that she is a store manager now, right? So now her score jumps up from having to get a 422, so now she needs a 529, because remember, the general occupation scores is a 529. So she would be categorized, if she was running a Walmart, as a general occupation person, and then she would have to score a 529. I don't think given her current profile, there is any way for her to get a 529. So then we would have to look at whether Mark, the husband, is a better candidate. So why don't we do his profile? So Mark is 31 years old. He has a bachelor's +1. So he had a bachelor's from home, and then he did a 2-year postgraduate diploma in Canada as an IT tech. Yes, he has earned it, and he has. So let's give him. He had 9s all the way through, but in writing he got an 8. Yeah, let's give him 1 year of skilled work experience in Canada, and because he's on his postgraduate work permit right now, which is about to expire in a year.
And 3 years back home, right?
No nomination, no siblings for him either. She had a master's from home. She had a 1 year of work experience in Canada, and she did a CELPIP, and her scores were all 7s. Okay. Now we can see that his score is a 495, much higher than the spouse's score. But the benefit of having the spouse as a primary applicant was, back then we assumed that she had healthcare experience. Now we're saying she doesn't have healthcare experience. Now she has to score a 529, so it makes the husband better. So 495 is a good score. The last stem draw was 491. However, let's say the next stem draw comes out to be a 510, right? And he is at a 495. How can he improve his score to kind of make it there?
So as we could see on the screen, he has only 1 year of experience. So let's see. He has a very good level of English, 4.9. He could do better, but I think
let's see how much difference it makes, right? Because let's suppose if he's this good, he can work a little harder and improve by 1 level, right? So let's see if we give him 10, what ends up happening. Let's give him 10s all the way through. So he was at a 495 based on this
492 or 495. Now let's see.
514, right? So if the next stem draw was at a 510 and he had improved his English, he would have made the cutoff.
So we are learning that by each 1 points on each skill, we are getting about 20 points. So 5 in each.
Yeah.
So if 1 skill goes up, almost we're getting 20 points.
Yeah, it's a great way to and look, it didn't even matter like his age. So when the stem draws come in, Ala, and if his score is below the cutoff, I want to mention one thing, especially if the client is living in Ontario, right? There is a way to get nominated by the province. Well, not nominated, but they can send you a notification of interest. So if you don't mind, I'm going to share my screen for 1 second. Don't close the simulation. We might come back to it. But I want to, share something here. So, let's suppose we took the example of Mark Johnson, the STEM guy, right? So he ends up scoring, let's say a 495, and the cutoff was, a 510, right? Would you still encourage him to submit his express entry profile in the system, and why?
If the cutoff score is 510, I would definitely recommend to submit if he's living and residing in Ontario, because there will be a draw for Ontario Tech program as well.
Well, and this is exactly the draw that you're talking about, this program, the Human Capital Priority Stream, right? So in other words, even if your profile score is, and this is a really important tip, if your profile score is, let's say 5 to 10 points below the cutoff, don't be discouraged, submit your profile anyway, because it's possible for a province to step in and give you a notification of interest. They can say, okay, if the federal government you didn't meet the federal government criteria, that's fine. We like you. We want to give you an opportunity to apply for a nomination. They'll give you a notification of interest. You can take that notification of interest, and then you can submit an application for a provincial nominee certificate under this stream in Ontario, right? And, just quickly, let me show you how that works is, so in March 21, 2024, Ontario issued targeted notifications of interest to potential candidates who may qualify for the stream, right? So candidates received this notification if they had a CRS score between 468 and 480. And the cutoff, the CRS cutoff in March 21, if you go back and look at the draw history, you'll see that the cutoff for that draw was 481. Anybody who scored below 481 did not get an invite by the federal government to apply for the permanent residency under the category-based express entry program for STEM workers, right? Now, if your score was below that, and how much below? It's right here, 468 to 480, you would have received a notification of interest from Ontario if you had work experience in any of these tech-related NOC codes, right? And look, it says here, you may apply to the stream if you received a notification of interest. You log directly into your e-filing portal with that notification that you receive on your express entry system, and then you can go ahead and submit an application for a certificate, which comes with 600 points. So still a great idea to always submit your express entry profile, especially if you're close, because you never know, either the scores might come down or a province might like your profile, step in and issue you a nomination. So this is what it means to be PR ready, right? Knowing the cutoff scores, knowing which category you may, fit into, understanding your NOC code, and strategizing, multiple ways to get to that all-important invitation to apply. Ala, please chime in with some comments at this point.
No, that was a great learning. So we understand about the latest draw. We understand about the categorized express entry. You bring up a very new stream of human capital for Ontarios. If the score is below the cutoff score, don't be encouraged and submit your application. And then we learned that how important is the proof of English, proof of language.
Yes, absolutely. And another thing that's super important is understanding your experience. Always know your NOC code, right? And be in touch with your HR and sort of figure that out. Like, what is exactly, because every occupation in Ontario, I mean in Canada, is categorized by an NOC number. There is not a single occupation that is not covered. Mm-hmm. And so your HR departments should know what your NOC code is. If they, and at times, Ala, we've seen this in our experience, sometimes you can go to the HR and say, hey, I feel that this NOC code most accurately reflects what I do on a day-to-day basis, right? And oftentimes the HR people will agree. We'll say, okay, we will, give you a work experience letter that confirms that this is in fact, your legitimate NOC code for the position that you do, and as long as you have the right amount of experience in that NOC code, and you've actually been doing that work, your experience is legitimate, then all you have to do is declare that NOC code as your primary occupation, and the system will fit you into any one of the categories that you'll be targeting. So when people come talk to us, Ala, as you know, we spend a lot of time on the experience component, don't we?
Yes, that is very true. Thank you so much, Mujtaba. I think it was a very useful session. If anybody has more questions, they can call us on a link below. We are always available, and they can book a meeting as well.
All right. Thank you for your time, Ala. Take care.